Harness racing is many different things to many different people. A sport, a career, a hobby, a business. It's full of highs and lows. We endure the early starts and the late nights. The 7-day weeks, the cold, the wet, the mud. Because we love it. We love the people, we love the camaraderie, and most of all, we love the horses. There are cold, wet nights in July, but there's also summer picnics at Olakau, Nelson and Hara. There's the disappointment of losses, but there's also pure joy and excitement in winning. Our trotters break, but when they get it right, they are poetry in motion. We do it because the highs outweigh the lows. But harness racing is at a critical junction. In 2023, a historic agreement was announced between the TAB and Entain, which guaranteed funding to our sport for the next 5 years. This partnership with Entain and guaranteed funding model allowed us to implement changes to stabilise our industry. This time last year, we announced a new funding model which saw an additional $3.4 million per year added to the base race stakes. This set the foundation for us to build on. Today, we are announcing further changes that will enable us to grow our sport and attract new fans and set harness racing up for a better future. For harness racing to prosper, we need to place our fans, whether they be owners, participants, breeders or punters, at the heart of our decision-making. Our new initiatives are built on 3 key pillars aimed at retaining existing fans and attracting new ones to the sport. Revitalizing the North. For harness racing to reach its true potential, it needs to become a truly national sport. Auckland is a key population and economic centre in New Zealand, but is underrepresented in harness racing and wagering participation. Revitalising harness racing in the North is crucial for the long-term benefit of the entire sport. Alexandra Park is one of 2 premier venues, and we have 45 Friday night meetings in season 2024-25. Earlier this week, I caught up with the boss of Entain for Australasia, Dean Shannon, to gauge his thoughts.
We want to engage, that big Auckland audience, right? And we're under-indexed significantly from wagering perspective in the North Island, and this is an opportunity for us to really sort of present our best product to the biggest audiences, and hopefully we can engage more and more customers and bring new fans into the sport.
The second pillar is consistency. In partnership with Entain and the TAB, the dates calendar has been designed to create a consistent pattern of racing. Fans of the sport will know there is harness racing at Cambridge for lower-rated horses on Tuesdays. There is harness racing at Alexandra Park and Addington Raceway every Friday night. There is harness racing every Sunday at regional venues around the country. There is harness racing on Thursdays and Saturdays in Southland. Here's Dean Shannon's thoughts on consistency.
Punters like consistency, and I think they get to know the horses, they get to know the drivers, they get to know the starts, right? They can see how a horse performed, last time it ran. They remember, you put it up into the mind that they might back it next time. All of that type of thing, and you get the opportunity to do that if you're racing same tracks week in, week out, right? And I think that punters can really rally behind that.
Racing at 2 venues every Friday night gives fans certainty that there will be harness racing starting every 15 minutes on a Friday night. Just like the NFL owns Monday Night Football and the NRL owns Super Saturday, harness racing will own Friday nights. To further enhance this concept, our partners at Entain have created Friday Night Lights.
Friday Night Lights, your new home for the most thrilling harness racing action in New Zealand. And we're bringing it to you like you've never seen before.
we'll be deep diving into the excitement, the personalities and the strategy behind each and every race.
I'm Craig the Whale Thompson. I'll be doing all the form for you for the North and the South.
We're committed to shining a light on this great game. There is simply no better time to be a fan than Friday night.
Whether you're a lifelong fan or new to our sport, Friday Night Lights is your front row seat to all the action.
Get ready for the ride of your life. This is Friday Night Lights.
Heats and final series. Another key part of consistency is the concept of series racing with heats and finals. We have created 2 new sets of heats and final series. The first will see weekly heats with a $35,000 final for both gates every 6 weeks at Alexandra Park. For the second, we are creating pathways for everyday, emerging and elite fillies and mares. This project is known as the Silk Road and will see an additional 150 races across 30 heat and final series for both gates all over the country on the grit and on the grass. Combined with other initiatives, this will see a $900,000 funding increase for fillies and mares. Marquee races and race days. The third pillar for the future is enhancing our marquee races and race days. The Sires Stakes is our most trusted brand. A joint venture with the New Zealand Sires Stakes Board to protect and advance our most trusted brand will see an additional $600,000 in funding. Pacing finals for both sexes will now be $200,000 and trotting finals $120,000. New Zealand Cup Week, the biggest event on every racing fan's calendar, gets a makeover. The IRT New Zealand Trotting Cup will see Australasia's best pacers race for $1 million. Then on Thursday, a new program at Ashburton will see our maiden and one-win horses race for $17,500. But the biggest makeover in years goes to Show Day. It will be a twilight festival of talent with some of the best horses in Australasia racing for a massive $2.2 million. Australasia's best trotters will line up in the Renwick Farms Dominion for $400,000. Australasia's best pacers will race in the New Zealand Free-for-All for $200,000. And Australasia's best 3-year-olds will go head-to-head in 2 new slot races, one for the pacers and one for the trotters. For each of the slot races, 10 budding champions will race over 1,980 metres for $500,000. Our marquee events continue throughout November and into December, starting with the reimagined Oaks Day on November the 29th. Our pacing fillies will race in the New Zealand Oaks for $225,000. Our trotting fillies will race in their Oaks for $140,000. Our best 2-year-olds will fight it out in 4 Aces races each for $100,000. The 6th of December will now be known as Derby Day. This will see our 3-year-old pacers race for $300,000. Our 3-year-old trotters will race in their derby for $200,000. Our 4-year-olds will get their opportunity in a new Group 1 4-year-old pace for $200,000. December will be golden for the North Island with 3 marquee days at Alexandra Park. Firstly, on the 13th of December, our best pacing fillies and mares will vie to be the Queen of Hearts. And for the first time ever, our trotting mares get their opportunity to race alongside their pacing sisters in a new Group 1 race for trotting fillies and mares. The 20th of December will be the Golden Gate Finals night with 10 races worth $100,000 each. And we finish the year off with a bang with the Auckland Cup and National Trot both moving to New Year's Eve. Cambridge continues to shine in April with the Flying Mile night leading into the immensely successful Night of Champions. Once again, Australasia's best pacers and trotters get their chance to vie for glory in the $1 million The Race by Grins and the $600,000 TAB Trot. Harness Racing New Zealand will be contributing $650,000 to these two slot races. These changes are the public face of racing. There is also change happening behind the scenes at an administrative and governance level. Our new CEO, Brad Steele, started just this week, and following the vote at last year's AGM, a new Harness Racing New Zealand board will be in place later this year. A new National Racing Bureau is being set up to ensure that programs are published well in advance to allow owners and trainers to plan better. It is working nationally to deliver locally. An overhaul of the handicapping system is also in the pipeline to give horses an opportunity to compete on a like-for-like basis. The 2-year-old bonus scheme introduced at the beginning of this year has been guaranteed for the next 5 years. The fillies and mares breeding credit introduced at the beginning of last season has been extended to a $750 credit for a win by any filly and mare in any race, not just fillies and mares races. Harness racing is at a critical junction. In order to flourish, it must evolve. This is an opportunity for the sport with massive changes ahead. It's a time of opportunity for the sport of harness racing. It's a time to set out on a pathway of growth. There is no doubt, though, the future starts now.